Dad's Silent Revenge.
On Sunday morning, October 27, 2024, my son called to tell me he was getting married the next day. I'm Richard Coleman, 58 years old, and I've been a widower for 3 years. When Tyler said he'd withdrawn all my money and mortgaged my house, I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I laughed out loud, a sound that surprised even me. What my son didn't know was that the house he just mortgaged for $150,000 wasn't the only property I owned. My name is Richard Coleman, born June 12, 1966, in Cleveland, Ohio. For 30 years, I was a mechanical engineer at Ford Motor Company. For 35 years, I was husband to Margaret Coleman. For 32 years, I was father to Tyler Coleman. Then on February 14, 2021, Margaret died from cancer. She was 54. I was 55. Tyler was 29. People see a quiet retiree who works part-time as an engineering consultant, helping small manufacturers optimize their production lines. They see someone gentle, perhaps lost since his wife died, certainly harmless. What they don't see is that for 30 years, I solved complex mechanical problems for a living. I know how systems work. I understand cause and effect. I can spot patterns because that's what kept aircraft engines from failing for 3 decades. I retired early at 55 when Margaret got sick, spent my savings on her treatments, then took the consulting work to stay busy after she passed. But I never forgot how to analyze data, how to document everything, how to understand that evidence tells the truth when people lie. 3 months before that Sunday phone call, Tyler started asking about my finances. July 23rd, the day after my birthday. Dad, I've been thinking, you're living alone now, and I worry about you managing bills online. What if you click the wrong link or something? Let me help you set up better security. I'm 58, Tyler, not 88, I know, but humor me. Mom would have wanted me to look after you. That line got me. So I gave Tyler access to my checking account, the one with about $4,000 for monthly expenses. Not my retirement account, with $185,000, just the checking. Thanks, Dad. This really helps me worry less. I should have noticed Tyler seemed more stressed than usual. During our weekly dinners, he kept checking his phone, his face getting tight every time it buzzed. When I asked if everything was okay, he'd just say work pressure. But his hands shook when he thought I wasn't looking. I figured it was grief. We were both still dealing with losing Margaret. 6 weeks later, September 8th, Tyler brought his girlfriend to dinner. Nicole Turner, 29 years old, with sharp beauty that made me think of cut glass, all edges and reflecting light. We sat in my dining room at 12047 Oak Street. I served pot roast from Margaret's recipe. Nicole picked at her food, her green eyes scanning the room constantly. This is a lovely home, Richard, she said, not asking permission to use my first name. Houses like this must be worth, what, $400,000? $500,000? I haven't had it appraised recently, I said, uncomfortable with the question. Tyler laughed, but it sounded forced. Nicole's interested in real estate, always looking at property values. Throughout dinner, Tyler kept glancing at his phone. Every buzz made him jump slightly. Nicole noticed too, shooting him warning looks when she thought I wasn't watching. Something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Later, washing dishes, I heard Nicole on her phone in the living room. My house has good acoustics, a quirk of the 1960s construction. Yeah, he's got money. The house alone is worth at least $425,000, and Tyler says he has retirement savings. He never remarried, so it's all Ford pension money. When he dies, it all goes to Tyler anyway. I froze, hands in soapy water, listening to her discuss my death and assets as if I were already gone. The casual way she talked about my funeral made my skin crawl. Tyler must have heard too. Nicole, keep your voice down. Sorry, babe, she said, not sounding sorry at all. I'm just saying we don't have to stress about money long term. A warning bell rang in my mind, but I dismissed it. Young people were more open about money these days. It didn't necessarily mean anything sinister. But that night, I lay awake thinking about Tyler's nervous energy, the constant phone checking, the way he jumped when I mentioned his old college buddy asking about gambling debts. Wait, when had I mentioned gambling debts? I hadn't. That was Tyler who brought it up, saying his buddy was clean now. Why would he volunteer that information unless it was on his mind? 2 weeks later, September 22nd, Tyler emailed me. Important documents, please sign. Hi, Dad. I'm attaching some routine insurance and medical forms. Can you print, sign, and send back? I opened the attachments. 4 PDFs, 15 pages each, dense with legal jargon. My engineering training kicked in. I always read the fine print, always understood what I was signing. But the font was deliberately small, the language intentionally confusing. Then I remembered, I'd been sick the week before, COVID-19. 4 days in Cleveland General Hospital, September 14th through 18th. Fever peaking at 103.8 degrees. I called Tyler. Did you bring me papers to sign in the hospital? A pause. Too long of a pause. Just insurance forms, Dad. You signed them on the 16th. I had a notary come. You don't remember? Your fever was really high. After we hung up, I tried to remember September 16th. Vague impressions of voices, of holding a pen, of signing something while my head felt like it was full of cotton. But the memories were hazy, unreliable. Had I really signed something, or was Tyler counting on my inability to remember? I should have hired a lawyer right then. But he was my son. Surely I could trust him. That was my first real mistake. October 27th, 7:30 a.m. I sat at my kitchen table with coffee and laptop, checking my accounts. My Sunday morning ritual for the past 30 years. The page loaded. Checking account, $327. Retirement account, $1,000. My retirement had held $185 and $316 on October 20th. Transaction history showed October 24th, $75,000 to Tyler Coleman, October 24th. $60,000 to Tyler Coleman, October 25th. $49,316 to Tyler Coleman, 3 transfers over 2 days, leaving just enough to keep the account open. My checking account showed another $3,000 transferred to Tyler on October 26th. I couldn't breathe. 30 years of saving gone in 3 clicks. Then my phone rang. Tyler's name on the screen. Hey Dad, great news. I'm getting married tomorrow. Nicole and I decided not to wait. Small ceremony at the Riverside Country Club. My throat felt like sandpaper. Tyler, my bank accounts. Oh, that? Yeah, I needed the money for the wedding and our new condo down payment. You'll be fine on Social Security and your consulting work, right? You took $185,000. Dad, technically I had authorization. Those papers you signed gave me power of attorney. You gave me access. I was delirious with fever. That's not how the bank sees it. His voice hardened, and I heard Nicole coaching him in the background. I'm your son. Everything you have comes to me eventually anyway. I just needed it sooner. Nicole and I are building our future. What about the house? Oh, right. I took out a $150,000 home equity loan yesterday. Great rate. The payments start next month, so you'll need to figure out how to handle that. Maybe look into assisted living. Tyler, my voice cut through his rambling. I need to ask you something. What? How much do you owe Tony Marconi? Complete silence. Dead air for 10 seconds. Dad, I don't know what you're talking about. Tony, the fish Marconi, underground poker games at the warehouse on East 55th. How much, Tyler? More silence. When Tyler spoke, his voice shook. How do you know about Tony? Because I've been watching your bank statements for 6 months, online gambling sites. Cash withdrawals at 2 a.m., late night trips to East Cleveland. You owe him $95,000, don't you? Dad, you don't understand. I can pay him back now. The wedding is just cover. Nicole doesn't know about the gambling. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I finally understood what I was dealing with. My son wasn't just weak or greedy. He was desperate and cornered, making increasingly stupid decisions to cover earlier stupid decisions. Dad, what's so funny? Tyler, do you have any idea what you've just done? I borrowed money from my father.
So what?
You mortgaged a house you don't own using fraudulent documents obtained by exploiting your sick father. That's theft, fraud, and forgery. 3 felonies. Dad, don't be dramatic. I'm your son. Have a nice wedding, Tyler. Enjoy it. It's going to be the last happy day you have for a very long time. I hung up and started thinking like an engineer again. Tyler thought I was helpless. Some confused old man he could manipulate. He had no idea who he was dealing with. I went to my filing cabinet and pulled out properties. Inside were deeds to 2 houses, 1247 Oak Street in my name, and 856 Maple Drive in the Margaret Coleman Family Trust. Tyler had mortgaged the wrong house. I opened my laptop and created a new spreadsheet, Tyler Coleman, Financial Fraud Analysis. Then I began documenting everything with the precision that had kept aircraft engines running for 3 decades. By Monday morning, October 28th, I had a plan as methodical as any engineering project I'd ever managed. 9 a.m. called my credit union. I need to report fraud. Complete records of all transactions for 6 months. Ashley Porter, the representative, was sympathetic but professional. I'm so sorry, Mr. Coleman. We'll investigate immediately. I need documentation of the power of attorney documents submitted to authorize these transfers. You'll have those within 3 business days. 10 a.m. called Spencer Richardson, a retired attorney from my neighborhood poker game. We'd known each other for years. Spencer, my son, stole my retirement money and fraudulently mortgaged my property. I need legal representation. Pause. How much are we talking? $185,000 in theft. $15,000 in fraudulent mortgage proceeds. Good God, Richard. Yes, I'll help you. Can you be at my office at 2 p.m.? 11 a.m. called my neighbor Brittany Walsh. She'd been Margaret's closest friend. had helped me through the worst days after the funeral. Brittany, can you come over? I need to tell you something, of course. Give me 10 minutes. While I waited, I pulled out every document I could find related to Tyler's finances. Bank statements from when he'd helped with my checking account, copies of the hospital admission forms, Margaret's trust documents. My engineering background had taught me that documentation was everything. Evidence didn't lie. Brittany arrived with coffee and that concerned expression she'd worn a lot in the months after Margaret died. I told her everything. Her face shifted from confusion to shock to something close to rage. "That son of a bitch," she said, then immediately apologized. "Sorry, Richard, but my God, his own father? I need help organizing everything. Bank statements, property deeds, medical records. Spencer's going to want complete documentation, whatever you need." You know that at 2 p.m. I sat in Spencer's office on Euclid Avenue. His law practice was small but respected, the kind of place where handshake deals still meant something. He listened to my story without interrupting, occasionally making notes on a legal pad. When I finished, he removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. "Richard, your son has committed multiple felonies: grand theft, fraud, forgery. This isn't civil court. This is criminal. He could face 3 to 5 years in state prison." "I know. Are you sure about this? He's your son. Once we file criminal charges, there's no taking it back." I met his eyes. "Spencer, he stole my retirement savings and tried to mortgage my home. He exploited my illness to forge documents. What kind of son does that?" Spencer pulled out a fresh legal pad. "All right, first we file fraud reports with your bank and the mortgage company. You've started that process. Second, we contact Detective Carter Phillips at Cleveland PD. He handles financial crimes. Good man. Third, we document everything with timestamps and evidence chains. What about Nicole? She'll distance herself the minute she realizes Tyler's going to prison. Women like that don't stick around for the hard times." We spent 2 hours preparing documents. By the time I left, I'd filed formal fraud claims with both my credit union and Pinnacle Mortgage Company. The police report would be filed October 29th. My phone buzzed as I drove home. "Tyler, Dad, why is the bank calling about fraud? What's going on?" "Me." "The bank flagged the withdrawals as suspicious. Standard procedure, Tyler." "Tyler, but I'm your son." "Tell them it's fine." "Me? Is it fine, Tyler? You took $185,000 without asking." "Tyler, I had your permission. It's borrowed. We'll pay you back." I didn't respond. Let him sweat. That evening, Brittany came over with wine and Chinese takeout. I told her about Spencer's plan. Her expression was grim but satisfied. "Good, he needs to face consequences. Margaret would have been heartbroken, but she would have supported you doing the right thing. You know what the worst part is?" I said. "Not the money, not the house. It's that he thought I was too stupid or weak to fight back, like I'd just roll over and take it." Brittany raised her glass. "He's about to learn his father is neither stupid nor weak." October 29th, 2024. I was at the hardware store buying new locks for my house when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Coleman, this is Ashley Brooks. I think we need to talk. It's about Tyler and my daughter." That afternoon, I sat in a coffee shop downtown across from a tired-looking woman 28 years old. Ashley Brooks had the worn expression of someone who'd been carrying a heavy burden alone. She held a photo of a little girl with dark curls and Tyler's exact smile. "This is Rachel Rose. She's 5 years old. Tyler is her father." My heart stopped. Margaret's granddaughter. The family I thought I'd lost forever. I have a granddaughter. Tyler and I dated in college. When I got pregnant, he told me to take care of it. When I refused, he disappeared. Changed his phone number, blocked me on everything. I've been raising Rachel alone for 5 years. I stared at the photo. She had Margaret's eyes, Tyler's nose, my stubborn chin. Does Tyler pay child support? Ashley laughed, but there was no humor in it. The court ordered $1,500 a month plus $50,000 in back support 2 years ago. That's where your money went, Mr. Coleman. Tyler's been secretly paying me to keep quiet about Rachel. Does Nicole know? Nicole thinks Tyler is perfect. She has no idea about his gambling or his daughter. Tyler told me if I ever contacted his family, he'd disappear again and I'd never see another penny. I felt sick. Ashley, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. It's not your fault. But when I saw the news about Tyler being arrested for fraud, I thought you should know the truth. Arrested this morning? Detective Phillips picked him up at his apartment. The charges are all over the news. I drove home in a daze. My phone had 12 missed calls from Tyler, 8 from Nicole, 3 from Spencer. I called Spencer first. "Richard, where have you been?" "Tyler was arrested this morning. The bank fraud investigation moved faster than expected." "Good, there's more. Nicole Turner came to my office an hour ago. She wants to make a deal. Says she'll testify against Tyler in exchange for immunity. Apparently she recorded several conversations where Tyler admitted to forging documents. She recorded him. Insurance policy. Smart woman, actually, cold as ice, but smart. She knew Tyler was unstable and documented everything in case it went sideways. November 2nd, 2024. Preliminary hearing at Cuyahoga County Courthouse. Tyler appeared with his public defender, looking like he'd aged 10 years in a week. Dark circles under his eyes, hands shaking. When his eyes met mine across the courtroom, I saw genuine fear mixed with something that might have been shame. Judge Patricia Foster reviewed the evidence Spencer had compiled. Bank records, fraudulent power of attorney documents, mortgage company findings, detective's report. The case was airtight. Mr. Coleman, Judge Foster said, the evidence here is overwhelming. The prosecution is prepared to file formal charges of grand theft in the first degree, fraud, and forgery. Yes, Your Honor, Tyler whispered. Before we proceed, does anyone wish to make a statement? I stood. Your Honor, may I speak? Proceed, Mr. Coleman. I looked directly at Tyler. Tyler, before this goes further, I want you to tell the court about Rachel. Tyler's face went completely white. His public defender grabbed his arm, whispering urgently. In the gallery behind him, Nicole shifted uncomfortably. Tyler, I said quietly, tell them about your daughter. The courtroom went silent. Tyler's attorney was trying to get him to stay quiet, but Tyler looked broken, like a man who couldn't carry his secrets anymore. Your Honor, Tyler said, his voice cracking, I have a 5-year-old daughter named Rachel Rose. Her mother is Ashley Brooks. I abandoned them when Ashley was pregnant because I was ashamed. Nicole gasped behind him. What? Tyler, what is he talking about? Tyler turned to face her, tears streaming down his face. Nicole, I lied to you about everything. I have a daughter. I've been paying child support with money I stole from my father. I've been gambling online for 3 years. I'm not the man you think I am. Nicole stared at him for a moment, then stood and walked out of the courtroom without a word. Her heels clicked on the marble floor until the door closed behind her. Judge Foster studied Tyler for a long moment. Mr. Coleman, we'll recess for 30 minutes. I suggest you use that time to speak with your attorney about your options. As the courtroom emptied, Tyler walked over to me. He looked smaller somehow, like all the fight had gone out of him. Dad, I'm so sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything now, but I'm sorry. Sorry isn't enough, Tyler. Sorry is just words. You need to become the man your daughter deserves. The man your mother raised you to be. How do I fix this? I've destroyed everything. You start by facing the consequences of your choices, all of them. Will you let me meet Rachel? After this is over, I looked at my son, this broken man who'd betrayed me but was still my child. That's not my decision to make, Tyler. That's Ashley's. You'll have to prove to her that you've changed. And what about us? What about our relationship? That depends on you. Real change, Tyler. Not promises, not excuses. Real accountability and transformation. He nodded, tears flowing freely. I understand. When court reconvened, Tyler entered a guilty plea to all charges. The prosecution recommended 18 months in county jail with supervised probation and mandatory addiction counseling. Tyler accepted without argument. Walking out of that courthouse, I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief, not satisfaction or revenge, just relief that the truth was finally out. Tyler would face consequences, but he'd also have a chance to become a better man. And I had a granddaughter to get to know December 10th, 2024. Sentencing day. The courtroom was packed. Spencer sat beside me, a thick folder of restitution documents on the table. In the back row, Ashley Brooks held Rachel's hand. My granddaughter was meeting me for the first time today, and she kept peeking over the bench with those curious brown eyes that reminded me so much of Margaret. Tyler sat at the defendant's table in an Orange County jail jumpsuit. He'd lost weight during his month in custody, but he looked cleaner somehow, more focused. His public defender had told Spencer that Tyler was attending Gamblers Anonymous meetings in jail and had requested addiction counseling. Judge Foster looked stern as she reviewed the sentencing documents. Mr. Coleman, I've presided over hundreds of fraud cases. Yours is particularly troubling because you exploited the person who loved you most, your own father. You forged documents while he was seriously ill. You abandoned your child for 5 years. Tyler stood, his voice barely above a whisper. Yes, Your Honor, I take full responsibility. However, Judge Foster continued, I also see genuine remorse now. I see a man beginning to understand the consequences of his actions. I see a child who needs her father, even if that father is deeply flawed. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. Tyler Coleman, you are hereby sentenced to 18 months in Cuyahoga County Jail with credit for time served. Following your release, you will serve 3 years supervised probation. You will make full restitution to your father, $100,000 plus interest, to be paid over 8 years. You will establish a legal custody arrangement with Ashley Brooks and attend mandatory addiction counseling for no less than 2 years. Tyler's knees buckled slightly with relief. 18 months, not 5 years. County jail, not state prison, a chance to rebuild. Mr. Coleman, Judge Foster wasn't finished. I'm giving you an opportunity your victims didn't get, a second chance. Don't waste it. After the hearing, I walked over to Ashley and Rachel. My granddaughter hid behind her mother's legs, shy around this stranger who claimed to be her grandfather. Hi, Rachel. I'm your dad's dad. That makes me your grandpa. She studied me with those serious 5-year-old eyes. Mommy says my daddy made mistakes. Are you going to make mistakes too? The question hit me harder than I expected. Everyone makes mistakes, sweetheart. The important thing is learning from them and trying to do better. Rachel thought about this. Mommy says we forgive people when they're really, really sorry and they change. Your mommy is very wise. Ashley squeezed Rachel's hand. Mr. Coleman, would you like to get coffee sometime? Rachel should know her grandfather. 6 months later, I was sitting on my back porch at 856 Maple Drive, watching Rachel chase butterflies in Margaret's garden. Tyler had been released 3 weeks ago and was living in a halfway house downtown, working at a warehouse and attending his counseling sessions. He visited every Sunday, slowly rebuilding his relationship with his daughter. Grandpa Rick, Rachel called out, can we plant more flowers like Grandma Margaret would have liked? Of course, sweetheart. What kind should we plant? Tyler walked around the side of the house carrying grocery bags. He looked different now. The desperate edge was gone, replaced by something calmer. Recovery suited him. Hey, Dad, I brought stuff for dinner. Rachel's favorite mac and cheese. Sounds perfect. We cooked together in comfortable silence, Tyler helping Rachel stir the cheese while I made a salad. It wasn't the family I'd expected to have at 59, but it was the family I had. Dad, Tyler said as we sat down to eat, I got my first paycheck from the new job yesterday. I made the payment to your account. $100 this month, I saw. Thank you. It's not enough. It'll never be enough, but it's a start. I looked at my son, this man who'd betrayed me but was finally taking responsibility. Tyler, your mother would be proud that you're trying. That's what matters. Do you think she would have forgiven me? Margaret believed everyone deserved a second chance if they were willing to do the work to earn it. You're doing the work. Rachel looked up from her mac and cheese. Daddy, will you teach me to ride my bike after dinner? Absolutely, princess. Whatever you want. Later that evening, after Tyler had left for his halfway house and Rachel had fallen asleep on the couch during a Disney movie, I sat with Ashley on the front porch. We'd become friends over the past months, bonding over our shared goal of helping Rachel have a stable family life. He's really changing, Ashley said. Tyler, I never thought I'd say that, but he is. Recovery is possible. I've seen it happen, but it takes daily commitment. What about you? Any regrets about pressing charges? I thought about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the investigation, the court proceedings, the slow path to reconciliation. No, accountability was necessary. For Tyler, for Rachel, for me, love without boundaries isn't love. It's enabling. That's what my therapist says too. A year later, I was back in my garden, this time with a helper. Rachel, now 6, was carefully watering the new rose bushes we'd planted in memory of her grandmother. Tyler sat on the porch steps watching his daughter and talking quietly with Ashley about kindergarten enrollment. He'd moved into his own apartment after completing the halfway house program, still attended his counseling sessions religiously, still made his restitution payments on time. We had dinner together every Sunday, and he called every Wednesday to check on me. It wasn't perfect. Trust, once broken, takes years to rebuild. But we were trying, all of us, to create something better from the ashes of what was destroyed. Grandpa Rick, Rachel said, dirt on her nose and pure joy in her voice. I think Grandma Margaret would like these flowers. I think she would too, sweetheart. I think she'd like our whole family. Tyler looked up from his conversation with Ashley. Dad, thank you for not giving up on me, for fighting for what was right. That's what family does, Tyler. We hold each other accountable, we demand better, and when someone is ready to change, we help them rebuild. At 59 years old, I'd learned the most important lesson of my life. Real love means setting boundaries. Real family means choosing truth over comfort. And real forgiveness isn't excusing someone's behavior, it's giving them a chance to become someone worthy of trust again. Tyler had earned that chance, and watching him with Rachel, seeing the man he was becoming instead of the man he'd been, I knew Margaret would be proud of all of us. The garden was beautiful. The family was healing. And for the first time in years, the future felt full of possibility instead of loss. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone you love is holding them accountable for their actions, not because you want to punish them, but because you believe they can become better than they are. True strength isn't measured by how much you can endure in silence, but by how clearly you can see the truth and how courageously you act on it, even when it breaks your heart.